The movie begins with a group of kids out biking early in the morning in 1969. They're riding over a fire tower walkway in the marsh when suddenly they spot a body lying motionless in the mud. The police get there. It's Chase Andrews. The police quickly investigate and notice something strange. There are no fingerprints or footprints leading to or from the body. It's almost like he just fell or was pushed from the town nearby. But by whom? They find fine pieces of red cloth on him, which are not from his clothing. So they go looking for clues about it. At a diner, the police hear some people around town suspecting the Marsh girl, as they felt Chase had a thing with her. The police go to her house and wonder why there are so many feathers, and when they look in, they find the red cloth they were looking for, while she was hiding nearby and watching them. They go looking for her in the marsh with boats. They find her. She runs from them and swims into the river, but they find her and she gets arrested and put in jail. A lawyer named Tom Milton comes to visit her and expresses that he can be her defense lawyer, can help her with the hearings, and that she will be judged by a jury from that area. He needs to know more about her, but she stays silent all along. He gives her a book he got her about nature, and she begins to talk to him and tell him that her family used to call her Kaya, and she talks about her early life. In 1953, she's a tiny girl living deep in the marsh with her parents and siblings. The marsh is her playground, her safe place, the world she understands better than anything. Tate comes in with his boat, asking if her brother, Jody, wants to go fishing with him, and she was playing on a boat nearby. Suddenly, her abusive alcoholic father storms in, pulls her sister away by her hair, and slaps Kaya hard, telling her she needs to learn to respect him. Tate is angry and attacks her father, saying he's hurting her, but Kaya pushes Tate away, and her mother comes running, and her father slaps her and she falls to the floor. And inside the house, constant terror. Kaya hears her father's violence grow worse over time, the screams and the fights. The biggest heartbreak was when her mother silently walks away one morning, suitcase in hand. Then, one by one, Kaya's siblings escape. Soon even more siblings leave. When her brother is running away, he hugs her and tells her to run as far as she can where the crawdads sing. And eventually, it's just Kaya and her father, a broken man. She learns from her siblings' mistakes to not get in his way and to fend for herself. One day, she's out in the marsh on her boat and she gets lost. She sees Tate, her brother's friend, who helps her find her way back. She builds the courage and asks her dad for food. He takes her to Jumpin' and his kind-hearted wife Mabel's store. Her dad says he doesn't let her talk to anyone, and Mabel tells her she should go to school, as they give her food at school. She only needs a skirt. She finds her mom's skirt and goes to school one day, but the town kids mock her as dirty marsh girl. The cruel bullying sends her running back home, never to return. Education becomes something she gives herself through nature, observing birds, sketching feathers, studying shells. The marsh becomes her teacher and her only friend. There's a short period where her father does soften a little. He teaches her how to fish and they sit peacefully together, but it doesn't last. One day, he leaves too. No goodbye, no money, nothing. And Kaya, still just a child, must survive alone in that shack. Kaya learns quickly that if she doesn't fend for herself, she'll starve. She collects mussels and sells them to Jumpin' and his kind-hearted wife, Mabel. They see she's alone and quietly help her with food, clothes, kindness no one else offers. At the trial, Tom tells her that if she says she met Chase and he fell, she'll get 6 years instead of 10. But she's innocent and determined about not going to jail. As she grows older, she notices Tate Walker, a gentle boy with bright blonde hair who fishes nearby. Slowly, he approaches her by leaving her feathers and seeds, nothing like the townspeople who spit insults. He unexpectedly meets her one day when he was leaving her feathers, and he realizes she can't read his note and offers to teach her. They meet on the shores, sharing books, feathers, laughter, and a growing tenderness. She invites him home as he teaches her. He sees her vast knowledge of birds and nature with pictures all over her home. It's sweet and innocent, her first sense of love, affection, safety. Tate is helping his dad, and his dad asks him if the marsh girl is his girlfriend. He says she's just a friend, and his dad tells him to focus on his dream to go to college. A man from Child Services go to Jumpin's store asking for Kaya. She tells Tate about it, and he says living in a group home is not bad, but she doesn't want to leave the marsh. She asks him why he is giving her all the things he has and if he has a girlfriend. He said he doesn't. Kaya asks about his mom and sister, and he tells her that they died in a car crash when he was young. Kaya tells him he can tell her anything, and they kiss for the first time. On Kaya's birthday, they go for a picnic. Tate gets a cake, but Kaya doesn't know it's her birthday since she doesn't have a calendar. They kiss. Their closeness deepens. They take off their clothes, but Tate stops himself when they're about to unite, as he says that he cares about Kaya too much and it's dangerous for her. Tate gets into the college he wants and is ecstatic when he tells his dad. But when he tells Kaya that he has to go away to college, he's sad. He tells her he got a job in the biology lab. He promises he'll return on the 4th of July and they can watch the fireworks together. On the last night, he shows up unannounced and they cuddle together. Then the next morning, when he has to leave, he hands Kaya a list of publishers she should mail her drawings and notes to, so she doesn't have to always pick muscles. On the day, Kaya waits. Dressed beautifully, heart full, waiting at the beach where they plan to meet, but Tate never shows. That heartbreak wounds Kaya deeply. She decides she won't rely on anyone ever again. People leave. That's what they do. She tears and burns her drawings that reminded her of him. Soon after, she sees Chase Andrews on the beach while she's painting. He's handsome, wealthy, and charming. He begins pursuing Kaya and asks her to join him for a picnic. When she's returning home, she sees a man snapping pictures of her home. She asks Jumpin what's going on, and he says developers are looking at the marshlands. And Mabel asks her if she has her house documents with her. She goes to inquire about her house papers, and the official tells her that the house is on her grandfather's name now, but anyone who pays the taxes can get it transferred to theirs. The taxes are $800, so she decides to mail her notes and drawings to the publishers Tate gave her. Chase feeds her compliments, tells her she's beautiful, pretends like he truly cares. Even though she hesitates, craving affection and belonging, she lets him in, but pushes him away when he tries to get close to her too soon. They secretly date. Boating trips, stolen kisses. He tells her he won't get close to her unless she wants him to. She sees him with his friends and asks him about them, but he lies, saying he doesn't have any friends. At the court, they discuss the red cloth found on Chase, and the same cloth fiber being found in Kaya's hat. Her lawyer says it could have been left on him at any time, not necessarily the night he was killed, so it can't be used as evidence. She gets a letter back from the publisher hoping to see all her work. She's ecstatic. He comes around telling her he's become the manager of the auto store in town and they should go to celebrate. He asks her to come out of town with him for work. She says she doesn't know anyone, but he says she needs to get out with him if she wants to be with him, and that he'll buy a huge house by the beach when they're married. She asks him if he told her parents about her, but he says if she's his choice, they don't have a say. They go on a trip and they get close. She gifts Chase a shell necklace. Then in court, his mom says the necklace wasn't in the items recovered by law enforcement and he never took it off and wore it when she saw him last. But her lawyer says that her house was thoroughly searched and they didn't find any necklace there. His mother also agreed that they were romantically involved, but she thinks Kaya killed him because he broke up with her, because she couldn't have him. Suddenly, Tate returns and sees Kaya with Chase, but leaves. At Jumpin's store, Chase talks vulgarly about Kaya, and Tate confronts him. They almost get into a fight, but Jumpin stops it. Tate comes to talk to Kaya about Chase, but she begins throwing stones at him. He apologizes, saying all the years without her didn't mean anything, and he's gonna regret what he did to her all his life. He says he's back in town. He gives her a feather, as he always does, and he asks her if there's any way she would forgive him. She doesn't answer him. Kaya goes to town and sees Chase with his friends. He introduces her to them. A girl says she's his fiancé and they leave together. Her heart shatters again. He comes to her home searching for her, but as soon as she hears his boat, she hides and watches him. He looks for her. He breaks things, ultimately frustrated, but then he leaves. She gets a check for her first published book from the publisher. She pays off the taxes for her land and buys some furniture with it. One day, out of the blue, Jody comes by. He tells Kaya that their mom passed. She's very sad. He promises to come see her as much as he can. Kaya packs a copy of her book for Tate and asks Jumpin to give it to him. Just then, Chase enters the store and doesn't let Kaya leave, but she makes her way. He follows her and apologizes, but she's had enough. She says she feels sorry for him, but she will have nothing to do with him. His temper turns terrifying. He slaps her. She slaps him back. He's surprised about how wild she is, and it turns him on. He jumps on her and tries to strip her, and he uses her. She fights back, but he hits her hard. She doesn't give up. She frees herself and beats him and screams to leave her alone or else she'll kill him. Someone sees her get on her boat and go away. In the court, the opposing lawyer asks a person who was at the scene when they were fighting to identify her. He does. Kaya sleeps in fear on her boat, and Chase wrecks her home. Tate comes to meet her. He sees her injuries and guesses Chase did it. He's furious, but Kaya tells him to stay out of it. He tells Kaya to go talk to the publisher about the second book, and Jumpin has the bus schedule. She goes to Jumpin. He's shocked to see her like that. He asks her who hit her, but he knows Chase did it. He asks her if he did anything to her, but she says she doesn't want to do anything about it. Her lawyer, Tom Milton, questions a lady who's seen her take the morning bus to meet the publishers. He argues that the timeline doesn't add up. Kaya was supposedly attending meetings with her publisher in another town that night miles away. There was no way she traveled back and forth secretly without being seen. Jumpin', Mabel, Tate, and Jody come to support Kaya. For the verdict, silence fills the courtroom as the jury returns. Then, not guilty. A tidal wave of relief washes over Kaya. Tears, the first real breath she's taken in months. She thanks Milton, hugs Jumpin' and Mabel, and Tate and Jody take her home to the marsh where she belongs. Tate returns to her little dock, softly asking if he may come inside, and this time Kaya lets him in. Their love becomes gentle, steady, lifelong, the family she never had. They live together into old age, exploring marshes, studying wildlife, embracing the world that shaped her. Years pass. One day, Tate finds Kaya collapsed peacefully in her boat, gone, but surrounded by nature like she was always meant to be. While packing her writings, Tate discovers a hidden box. Inside is Chase's shell necklace, the one she gave him, the one missing from his body the night he died. Alongside it is a poem that basically confesses her crime, written in her own secret style. In a shocking emotional moment, Tate realizes Kaya did kill Chase. She did this to Chase because she knew he would never leave her alone and would someday destroy her. Tate closes the box, hiding the secret forever, because he knows what the marsh knew all along. Kaya did what she had to do to survive, like every wild creature does. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more movie breakdowns. Comment below and tell me which survival movie you want next. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next one. Bye!